So, working on my transition between the Marine Corps and like civilian life right now. I've got about 8 work days left, then I'm going on terminal leave, and it's time to figure out what's next. But I have been applying to jobs and such, and so now I'm at this point where I'm realizing that I'm not overqualified for everything that I ever set out to do, and that success just isn't spontaneously natural. And it caused me to do some reflection. And so, what I'm going to talk about is expectation management, or being able to manage expectations and reactions to disappointment. So, when I was a junior officer, I heard that we need to shape expectations. We need to sort of set the stage for what's to come. And it was really implying that what we were going to go into meeting to talk about, if it was bad news, wouldn't be as upsetting when the person receiving the bad news got the bad news. I'm not a kind of person to sugarcoat things or to try and speak nicely on things. I'm going to call it what it is. So, if you are good at this stuff, then good for you. But from my perspective, I've been called Bad News Nelson before because I say things that people don't always want to hear. And I'm just going to tell you how it is, and I'm going to be very direct. So, if you're trying to shape someone's expectations and sort of set the stage for delivering them bad news, it can be pretty easily detected. And a lot of people tend to do it with some sort of nonsense where they already know the bad news, but they're trying to sort of say the bad news hasn't happened yet. And in my opinion, it's not a good practice to do to someone else. However, it does help you with managing your personal expectations and how you react to being disappointed. So, being able to sort of shape your own expectations and manage your expectations is a good skill to have. It's a life skill, you're going to develop it over time, regardless of your career choice. So, if you're in the military, you're going to learn how to manage your expectations for sure, because a lot of things aren't going to be what you expect them to be setting out. So, at some point, you've probably used some of my videos to manage your expectations or what you expect from the future. This could be you saw my video on a day in the life of a Marine Corps officer and you were at your MOS school or TBS and you're like, oh man, I wonder what's coming next, what my regular day is going to be like. You're setting up what you think is going to happen in the future by managing your expectation, right? So let's use something as an easy example for this. You're a little kid, okay? There's some sort of holiday. It could be your birthday, maybe you celebrated Christmas, something like that. And you're starting to shape expectations towards it. You're setting what you want. You're making a list. You're writing a letter to Santa Claus. You're going to the store and pointing at stuff for your mom and dad. You're saying, wow, I really like this. So you're setting up your expectation of what you're potentially going to get as a gift and centering it around your interests, right? Now, this could also be directed towards like a hobby or something that you've done for a long time. And so people might already know before you're really trying to directly express what you want. So, on top of that, you also got your expectations leading up to it. So, maybe your gift was wrapped and it was placed somewhere that you could see, but you don't know what's underneath it. So, you're looking at this box or a bag or something, you're looking at the dimensions, you pick it up, you can feel the weight, right? And if you give it like a little shake, it might make a noise. Then, when you tear through the paper or you open the bag, you see what's in there, you're either going to be very happy with what you got, it's going to satisfy your expectation, or you're going to be disappointed. Now, this point is a very critical skill that you'll develop over time, and it's how you react to disappointment. So, let's say you didn't get the thing that you want, right? You can still act positive. You can still say, wow, this is great, and put on your fake smile and sort of talk about how you're going to use it for something in the future. You can have a sort of neutral expression about it where you just sort of look at it and you're like, yep, this is this. Or you could be like, oh man, I didn't want that. But you'll notice that as people age and grow and develop, they lean away from the negative reactions to being disappointed. They still try and walk away with something positive. And that's mainly because how they see it affecting other people around them. So when you have your disappointment and you express it in a negative way, you're like, I'm disappointed, this isn't what I wanted. And if you're that kid again getting that gift, the people around you are going to feel bad about getting you that gift. So by the effect that you have on others, it's going to shape your future behavior to want to be part of the group or part of the crew. So, setting your future expectation is a very large part of your decision making process. So, when you look at your past experience, you're going to begin to shape your future expectation of what's to come next, right? And once you start doing that, you're going to realize that there are gaps in what you know or what you thought you knew and what's coming. And that's when you're going to start gathering information. Maybe that's why you're here. Maybe one of my videos led you here and you're trying to figure out what's next for you. You can basically see what you don't appreciate yourself and why are other people trying to do things. And it makes it very interesting, right? So, if your future expectations and the outcome of them are drastically different, how is this going to affect you and how is it going to affect the people around you? Whether it's as a leader, as a family member, you need to understand that how you react and how you express any sort of disappointment or dissatisfaction with the outcome of where you are is not only going to affect you, but it's going to affect everyone else around you. So from there, it's either a downward spiral of just being negative, taking on the chin and trying to be positive about it, or even just being neutral about it, keeping your head down and pushing through. So, for myself recently, this personally ties in. I've applied to a little over 30 jobs in the last month or so, and looking back at it, I've had a video interview, a pre recorded video interview, and an in person interview. And I've also gotten a couple of formal rejections from jobs that I know that I'm qualified for or overqualified for. I meet all the requirements, but selling myself and actually getting out there and seeing that you don't just walk in and set your stuff down on a table and start working is a very different experience from what I've had in the Marine Corps. So I've still got a lot of time left. I've still got a few months left. I got 60 days of leave coming up, so I'll probably find something next. But my expectations, how I've managed them, and how I react to my disappointment in not getting something completely dictates my future. I hope you understand that it does for you too.